Hey, what's up, guys? So, in my last video, I told you guys that I was going to make a video about the low blow in the Anthony Joshua, or excuse me, the Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois fight. And, I'm going to talk about that in this video. But I also want to talk about the Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk fight, specifically the second one, because there's a comparison I want to make to this fight. But anyway, let's talk about this fight, or the low blow in the Dubois and Usyk fight first. So, obviously the question is, was it a low blow? Was the shot that Dubois landed in the fifth round a low blow? Um, that's the question everyone's asking, right? So, if you look at the shot, yes, or excuse me, no, it was not a low blow, right? So, yes, it was a legal shot, and it was a legitimate shot, and it it should have been a knockdown, right? Because, and I said this in my last video, I said that, the glove might have touched, because of the angle of the uppercut, it might have, the glove might have hit the, cup first, or, under the belt line first, and then hit Uzyk's belt line, so maybe you could see that as it being a low blow, but at the same time, I look at um, the shot, and it's still it does look like Usyk was exaggerating the shot a bit, and it wasn't as bad as he was trying to make it out to be. So I think I'm not gonna sit here and call Usyk like a I don't know, a p word or whatever, right? But um, and the thing is, I actually like Usyk. I've said this before. Like, I'm actually a fan of Usyk. I like watching his style. I like studying him and stuff like that. And I think he has some of the best footwork, and not just like short range boxing combinations, but at a long range as well, right? And he's definitely one of my favorite fighters to watch. But at the same time, I have to keep it unbiased when I look at the footage, and it looks like Dubois landed a clean shot. It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't the cleanest. Like, it didn't hit. It wasn't like it didn't hit Uzyk's skin or whatever. But when you look at the boxing rules, it does count as a knockdown, right? So that being said, the question is, should it have been a knockout win? Um, well, we don't know, right? We don't know if it because we don't know what would have happened if the ref gave Usyk a 10-8 count. Would have Usyk have mustered up the courage, to get up? Could he have regained himself, got up and kept on fighting? Like, we don't know, right? But I will say the fact that it took Usyk, what was it, 4 rounds? It took him a minute just to get up, just to stand up, I think, and it took him it took him like 3 minutes, a whole 3 minutes, just to recover from the shot, right? So overall, it took him 4 minutes. He almost took up all the time he was allowed to recover, right? So the fact that it took him that amount of time to just recover from that shot indicates that Usyk probably would have been stopped in the fight, right? So the question is, was it a legit knockdown? Yes. Should Dubois have got the win? Probably, from the looks of it, right? So that's that. But anyway, let's not. Here's what I'll say. Let's not just get angry all of a sudden over this, right? Because and this is where I talk about the Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk rematch, right? So there's this narrative now that because Dubois landed this shot, he suddenly did better than what AJ did, right? Because it's like, oh well, Dubois, he landed the shot on AJ on Usyk, like that Dubois was robbed. He should have won. He's the champion. Dubois versus Fury should have all that stuff, right? Fair enough, right? That's that could be true. That Dubois maybe did land that shot, got he hurt Usyk, dropped him, right, and got that kind of reaction, and maybe he should have won by stoppage. Fair enough if you think that, right, or whatever, you know. But when you look at the Anthony Joshua fight, the exact same thing happened, right? Look at the exact same shot happened. It happened in the same round, right? I mean, just look at this. Compare, side by side.
Oh, c'est même pas un coup
C'est
bas.
pas si bas que ça, effectivement.
Non, c'est pas un coup bas. Il y a un peu de
It's the same round. It's the same shot. It's almost the exact same reaction. I mean, sure, Dubois got like a stronger reaction out of Usyk than what AJ did. But did you not see Usyk limping to his corner after that, right? Had AJ, you know what I mean, like followed up with more shots, he probably would have dropped Usyk because of the impact of that shot. You know what I mean? I know the shot wasn't as powerful as Dubois' shot. Like Dubois probably, he wounded it up, um, you know, a lot more, and was able to generate more power into that punch than what AJ did, right? But it's not like AJ's punch landed like below the belt line. You know what I mean? It landed on the belt line, right? Just like with the Dubois fight, And the thing is, I was gonna say something after this fight, or after the Anthony Joshua fight. I noticed this well, not right after, but after watching the fight a few times, I noticed it during the fight. I watched the fight and I was like, oh well, that could have been a knockdown. You know what I mean? Hence, AJ could have won that round, or he probably could have got the stoppage in that round, right? But the ref let him recover. You know what I mean? But I didn't say that because and this is, like I said, this is the thing with people is that people call me like an Anthony Joshua fanboy, like I'm the AJ fanboy channel, and whatever stuff like that, right? But the thing is, people ignore like all the other stuff I say that's like, doesn't support AJ's argument of him winning these fights against whoever, right? And I find it funny that people call me a fanboy because I literally picked Usyk to win against AJ in the rematch, right? I said AJ could be at his best, like technique wise, but I think Usyk would still probably win. I said that. Go look. I still have the prediction video on my channel, right? I predicted Usyk to win a close decision, and the fight went exactly how I expected it to go. I mean, I wanted AJ to win. I said that, and I said AJ could win, right? But I said that he would probably have to stop Usyk, right? Or he would have to like really edge out the decision, which he almost did, right? But so I'm a fanboy because I picked Usyk to win against AJ in the rematch. Like what? You know what I mean? Right? You know what I mean? And and another thing is that, like I'm a fanboy, but with the Helenius, and I haven't talked too much about the Robert Helenius versus AJ fight, and same thing with the Helenius versus Wilder fight. But the way I looked at that fight, there's talks about Wilder and AJ fighting in, I don't know, December is it or whatever, whenever. I don't know if that fight's gonna happen because I mean they've been trying to make it since 2018, and like Eddie Hearn, Wilder's promoter Shelly Finkel, those guys, I don't know, like who knows if that fight will happen, right? But I mean, and also putting into consideration where they're gonna fight, whether it's the UK or America. AJ's gonna want to fight in the UK probably, and then Wilder's going to want to fight in America. So, that's going to be a whole, that fight is going to be so complicated or so difficult for them to make. But anyway, but the thing is, here's what I'll say. Even though I think AJ can win, I'll say this. The Anthony Joshua that fought Robert Helenius versus the Deontay Wilder that fought Helenius, I think Wilder would win, right? Just based off that, I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm just saying that if you were to take those two fighters, put them in the same ring on the same night, I think Wilder would win. So am I suddenly an AJ fanboy? Right? And like I said, I think AJ can win, and I would want him to win that fight. But that's like, you know what I mean? So this narrative that I'm this like Anthony Joshua fanboy, and that I just make up stuff about him just to make him look better, whatever, is complete nonsense in my opinion. Since I've I've said that in the past that he's he could lose against Usyk. I'm saying that he could lose against Wilder. I'm saying that Wilder probably had the more impressive performance against Helenius than what AJ did, even though they both had, I mean, they weren't, AJ's performance against Helenius wasn't trash. I think people are kind of like exaggerating that a bit much, but anyway, but the thing is, that's why I didn't want to say or talk about the low blow situation in the second AJ fight. Because one, no one was talking about it. Two, had I made a video about it, people would have called me people would have called me like a, like a fanboy, this, that, and the other, right? And yeah, and that's that, right? So, but now I just don't care because now everyone's like losing their mind, or just like, saying, oh, it's the end of the world because Dubois landed the same shot on Usyk and got like that same reaction out of Usyk, maybe a bit stronger, but still, right? Now with the AJ knockdown, right? AJ, like I said, if he followed up with more shots and had the ref said no, keep fighting, he could have honestly dropped Usyk and he would have been the first guy to have like knocked down Usyk in that fight. You know what I mean? And that's that. But people are saying that about the Dubois fight. So let me get this straight with you guys. So by your logic, Daniel Dubois should have won by knockout in the 5th round. If that's the case, then basically by your logic, this should have happened in the Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk fight, the rematch.
Well, the Riveter, there's a body shot. It's over. It is over. Is to recover from what has been ruled a...
And once again, the heavyweight champion of the world, the man known as AJ, Anthony Joshua.
I mean, okay, I guess AJ is a 3-time champion, you know what I mean? Like, or should be, right? You know what I mean? And, some people say, oh, well, you don't know if, AJ would have knocked out Usyk in that round. Maybe Usyk would have gotten up and, kept on fighting, right? And so, okay, fine. If you think that, fine, right? But the fight was close up until, the 10th round, I think it was, in that second AJ fight. You know what I mean? A lot of people, can at least agree to that, right? So that reaction that AJ would have got with another body shot, dropping Usyk, he would have probably rocked Usyk. Usyk would have had to take a few more rounds off to regain his composure, and it could have changed the fight. So AJ could have won more rounds. You know what I mean? And even if the fight didn't really change after that knockdown, I'll give you guys my scorecard for the fight. All right, and this is my sort of final scorecard, if you will, because I've watched the fight multiple times at regular speed, but looking back at it, I did score the fight, and I based it this one time, and I really slowed it down just to make sure, I got it right or whatever, and this is my judging criteria, right? So obviously defense is one, obviously ring generalship is one, but I also look at I take in consideration light strikes, medium strikes, and heavy strikes, right? So light strikes obviously, matter because they're, probably the most amount of punches that a fighter will land in a round are light strikes. But I take into account medium strikes and heavy strikes. Now, if a fighter lands a lot of light strikes, and more than the other one, but the other fighter lands more heavy strikes than the other one, I will give the guy who landed the heavier strikes, but least amount of strikes, that round, because effectiveness is key. The hard shots are key in the fight. You know what I mean? So, and the same thing with medium strikes. So that being said, round 1 I gave to Anthony Joshua because he landed 2 more heavy strikes than what Usyk did. Usyk didn't really land a heavy strike in that round, and I give that round to him, right? And he also overall landed more shots in that round. Round 2, I thought was a clear AJ round. I thought he landed a lot more medium strikes and heavy strikes than Usyk, and light strikes overall. So I give that round to AJ. Round 3, I gave to AJ because he landed more heavy strikes, right? And he landed some medium strikes. So Usyk landed some, some. Oh wait, no, this round. Oh, excuse me. Round 3 I gave Usyk because he landed more medium shots, and the heavy strikes were close. So I gave that round to Usyk. Round 4, I gave to Usyk as well. He landed a lot more medium strikes. They were both similar in heavy strikes. Now round 5, obviously, is the round that we're talking about. I edged that round to Usyk because they both landed a similar amount of medium strikes. Neither one landed a heavy strike, except that one uppercut to the body that AJ landed, which the ref didn't count, right? But I gave Usyk that round because he landed more light strikes than AJ. Now round 6, I gave to Anthony Joshua, because he landed more medium strikes, despite them both landing a similar amount of heavy strikes. Round 7, I gave to Alexander Usyk because he landed more heavy strikes and medium strikes in that round. Round 8, I gave to AJ. I thought that was a clear AJ round. Usyk didn't really land a heavy strike in that round, and AJ landed, quite a few heavy strikes in that round. Round 9 was obviously a clear AJ round. Round 10 is obviously a clear Usyk round. Round 11, I gave to Usyk, although this was a close round because AJ did land more heavy strikes, but Usyk landed a lot more, strikes overall, light strikes and medium strikes. So I just edged that round out to Usyk, but I think that you could make an argument for AJ winning that round. And same thing with the third round, right? So my scorecard is 7-5 rounds for Usyk, right? Now, that being said, I could make an argument for AJ winning, the third and 11th round in that fight, because those 2 rounds were really close. Now, that being said, had AJ scored the knockdown, had he been given that knockdown in the 5th, AJ would have been given the 5th, right? So it would have been 6 rounds to 6, with obviously AJ edging the fight out with that 10-8, right? So either way, so AJ could have spun the fight around. He could have edged out a decision, right? And probably have won some more rounds. We don't know. We don't know, right? But that's the thing. I didn't say any of this after the fight because it's like we don't know, right? Either way. But I'm just saying, like, now because Usyk's suddenly fighting Dubois, or because Usyk's fighting Dubois, it's like suddenly it's it's a disgrace to the sport. Oh, Usyk got robbed, or Dubois got robbed. He got cheated out of a victory and things like that. But now people completely ignore the fact that almost the exact same thing happened in the Usyk fight, or in the AJ rematch, right? And the thing is, a lot of people are saying like Dubois did better than AJ. Now I watched the Dubois fight recently, and Dubois did I don't know if he did better than I expected him to do, but I guess because he landed that shot, that uppercut, he maybe did, he landed, like, he was able to hurt Usyk, right? Which was, I knew Dubois could hurt Usyk because Dubois got power, right? But AJ, like I said, he won a lot more rounds than Dubois. Dubois only gave, 2 rounds or 3 rounds at most, considering the 5th round, he landed that body shot, right? So I gave him 3 rounds at most. But other than that, I didn't really, there wasn't a round that I don't think Dubois dominated a round, right? Except for maybe round 3 or 4, but that was not that much of a domination, right? Aside from that punch in the 5th, right? So this idea that AJ did better, and the thing is Usyk, after the alleged low blow in the 5th round of the AJ fight, AJ was still able to win rounds after that low blow, right? And almost not almost finished Usyk necessarily, but, stunned him in that 9th round and even the 10th round momentarily. And the 12th round, when AJ was rocked, he was still able to catch Usyk with that big left hook that stunned him a bit, And the 11th, he stunned him in rounds 9, 10, rounds 8, 9, 10, and 11, and 12, right? But Dubois didn't do any of that. And I'm not going to sit here and trash Dubois because I still, considering his age and stuff, I think he's a good fighter, right? And, with his experience, you know what I mean? And the fact that he was able to give, land a shot like that on Usyk, with his amount of experience, shows that, he's definitely going to be a threat to the heavyweight division in the future, right? But, are we gonna forget that he got stopped in the 9th round of that fight? Whereas AJ, I know he got when AJ in the 9th round of their fight, it was on the flip side, he was the one who was rocking Usyk all over the place. He got him with a good body shot, he was landing uppercuts and left hooks and all that stuff, you know what I mean? And he had Usyk in trouble. So I don't know. It is what it is, and that's just it. It's double standards in boxing. Suddenly people are now paying attention to these things and stuff like that, and it is what it is. But anyway, that's just what I wanted to talk about in this video. So yeah, I guess I don't know. By everyone's logic, I guess AJ is better than, you know, what people give him credit for. But I don't know, that's that. But anyway, listen, at the end of the day, should Dubois have been given the decision? Maybe, we don't know. But if that's the case, then AJ should have probably been given the decision as well, right? So that's that. But anyway, that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Do you think AJ should have been given the win as well? Do you think Dubois should have been given the win? Or do you think, you know, just let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. And yeah, let me know what other video you guys want me to talk about. Or, you know, let me know if you want me to talk about Wilder versus AJ, or, you know, a potential rematch between... you know what, to be honest, I think Dubois should rematch Usyk, just to, like, get all this controversy out the way. I think they should have a rematch, to be honest, right? Because I think that's, like, what would just end all this, you know, controversy and stuff. Do I think it'll happen? I don't know, but considering Usyk doesn't really have anyone else to fight, I think it makes sense. So, yeah, anyway, that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. So yeah, take care and peace.
My back's, is there a doctor in here? My back's gone.
Your back is okay.
I'm about to carry this heavyweight division to the top.